Our next guest, as you can tell, very impactful, coming to the fight. Indi Jackson, a former classmate of mine, thank you for coming and joining this whole great thing that we got going on.
Thanks for having me, Malik. I remember you. Glad you remember me.
Hey,
Big
I like
time.
that. I really want to get into it. We just saw the amazing trailer of what you're setting as a trailblazer type of movement at Notre Dame, and just explain what the significance is and what it means to you to bring something like this to a culture that is probably not used to something like that.
Right. So I think to best explain how this project came to be, we have to really push ourselves back to March. So in March, it was peak pandemic. Everybody was locked down. A lot of social injustice was going on in the Black community. And I had reached out to people around me because I was hurt. I was confused. I didn't know how to express my feelings. And it was in that moment that I realized I wasn't the only Black person that was feeling that way. And I started to think about our athletes. So when I went out on this venture, the first thing I wanted to do was give them a space to talk about like how they felt that they were wronged and what we could do to rally around them. But as I kept going on, I started to realize that it was actually a platform for everyone. Because as Dalen Best put it in that trailer, like people don't know what they don't know. It's not that Notre Dame didn't want to help, they just didn't know how. So this platform became a place for people to come, learn, listen, and it kind of took off to more of a place that I never expected it to be. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity.
And like you said, we've seen stars at Notre Dame campus be on your podcast, but can you just go over some of the stars that you felt and had the best connection with through the podcast so far?
Yeah, so I started the podcast with Sam Jackson, the second Black leprechaun, because I remember when he became the leprechaun. It was so monumental to me because I always wanted to do that, but I never thought that being a leprechaun was a space for the Black community. So I really wanted to talk about him because people didn't realize, although he was living out that dream, all the other things that he had to go through, that he had to deal with, the backlash of people also believing that we didn't have to be in that space, a place that we call our home. So he was the first guest. Second, we went with Dalen Hayes because he's been big in the community. So he talked to us about the Juneteenth rally, how he launched that, how the football team rallied around him, his journey to educating his teammates or his friends. Followed it up with Michaela Vaughn from the women's basketball team, Caitlin Gilbert from the women's basketball team. We had Corey Robinson, and we capped it off with Hannah Thompson. So wonderful guests.
Well, I'll have to make sure I'm appearing on that as well at some point. And with it being such a trailblazer, momentous movement, what do you see the future of this project becoming as the years go on?
Right. So actually, the Corey Robinson episode, it was in place of another student athlete who did the episode but didn't actually feel comfortable because why it's called Brave Voices at Indi is because it takes a lot of courage to talk about something so controversial to most. So we respected him, but we did the Corey Robinson episode, which was an alumni episode, and it kind of teases what the next season is going to be about. I want the next season to be about our alumni student athletes who are in the world, their experiences, and kind of push it outside this Notre Dame bubble. So you offered yourself up. Yeah. I hope you realize you'll be getting an email from me shortly after.
I like that. I'll definitely send a quick response as well. And just talk about it. You were a student athlete here at Notre Dame during your college years, and now you work here. That's a lot of time spent at Notre Dame. So what has Notre Dame really meant in your life, and how has progressed you to be the person you are today?
Yeah, it's so interesting, and I've talked about this before. When I first came to Notre Dame, I had to find my place. I had to find my home. And the more I stayed here, the longer I realized how powerful this community is and what it has to offer. But just like any place, everybody needs to grow. Everybody needs to change and learn. And Notre Dame is so special because it wants to. I want to be the most powerful force for good. Our mission is something they truly live and believe by. So I want to be a part of a place that wants to continue to push that forward. And that's why I've stayed so long, because not only can I grow who I am, I can grow this community. And I know eventually when I, go out into the rest of how it impacts the rest of the world. I know eventually I'm impacting the rest of the world. So Notre Dame means everything to me. Notre Dame is me.
I love it, and especially you embodying that each and every day while being on campus and working so hard on the media side. And thank you so much, Indi Jackson, for joining us, because this is very special in what you're bringing and what you're setting forth for the future. And it's second to none.
Thank you so much, Malik.